All right, so let's talk about digital minimalism. It's this idea, this philosophy really, for taking back your life from all the digital noise. I mean, have you ever felt like your phone kind of owns you instead of the other way around? Yeah? Well, then this is definitely for you.
So you gotta ask, how did we even get here, right? How did we go from a simple tool that was just supposed to help us make calls to this device that, let's be honest, a lot of us feel like we absolutely cannot live without? The promise was a tool we controlled. The reality? It often feels like the tool controls us.
And look, this whole transformation, it wasn't some kind of accident. Not at all. It was a deliberate, a fundamental shift in how technology was designed to interact with us, with our psychology.
I mean, go back to 2007, when Steve Jobs stood up on that stage. What was the big thing he was excited about? Making phone calls better. Just think about that for a second. There was no app store, no social media notifications blowing up your screen, no endless scroll. The phone had one clear, focused job.
And it's pretty much the same story with social media. Early Facebook, it was just a little novelty, right? A kind of digital version of a freshman yearbook. Something you might check once in a while to look up an old classmate. It was not this thing that was specifically engineered to suck up, on average, 2 hours of every single user's day. No way! So, what on earth changed? Well, the answer is pretty simple, and it's all about money. Tech companies figured out there were fortunes to be made, not in selling you a product, but in the battle for your attention. They literally discovered how to weaponize our own minds against us. And then you had people from inside Silicon Valley, whistleblowers like Tristan Harris, who started to pull back the curtain. And what they revealed was kind of shocking. Our phones aren't just useful tools anymore. They're engineered to be addictive. And they're using a playbook of psychological tricks, basically borrowed directly from the casino floor. Okay, so at the very heart of this whole attention economy is this one psychological concept. It's called intermittent positive reinforcement. Sounds complicated, but it's not. Put simply, it's the engine of addiction. It's the exact same principle that makes slot machines in Vegas so unbelievably compelling. It's that feeling that the next pull of the lever, the next refresh of your feed, that might be the one that delivers the reward. That's it. That unpredictability is what hijacks our brain chemistry and just keeps us coming back for more. So, how does this actually play out in the apps you use every day? Well, think about the like button. That wasn't just some cute, fun feature. It was specifically engineered to be a slot machine for social approval. Every time you post something, every time you refresh your feed, you're pulling that lever, gambling for that little dopamine hit of likes and comments. Or what about Snapchat streaks? They tap directly into our deep-seated tribal fear of social rejection. And get this, even the color red on your notification icons is totally intentional. It's an alarm color. It's designed to trigger a sense of urgency that is incredibly hard for our brains to ignore.
Okay, so that's the problem. But what if there was a way to fight back? Well, there is. And that's exactly where digital minimalism comes in. And let's be super clear. This isn't about becoming a Luddite and rejecting technology. Not at all. It's about one simple thing, putting your own values back in the driver's seat of your life.
And this whole idea, it's actually grounded in a really old philosophy from Henry David Thoreau. He basically argued that you have to weigh the cost of things, not in money, but in life. You have to look at the small conveniences a tool gives you and weigh that against the life, the attention it demands in return. So you have to ask yourself, is that next hour of mindless scrolling really worth an hour of your actual life?
So what this philosophy really does is force us to choose between two completely different mindsets. The default mode for most of us is what you could call digital maximalism. That's where if an app has any potential benefit, even a tiny one, we just adopt it. We're driven by that fear of, what if I miss something important? But a digital minimalist flips that question completely. They ask something much more precise, more surgical. Is this the absolute best way to use technology to support something I deeply value? And man, that one change transforms your whole approach from just being reactive to being powerfully intentional.
Okay, so the philosophy sounds great, right? But how do you actually do it? How do you go from just agreeing with the idea to putting it into practice? Well, the answer is a single, really powerful process. It's a 30-day experiment, and it's designed to completely reset your relationship with technology. It's called the digital declutter. And the process itself is surprisingly simple. First, for 30 days, you just take a break. You step back from all the optional technologies in your life. Now, this isn't a punishment, okay? It's about creating some quiet space for yourself. And in that quiet, you get a chance to rediscover the stuff you actually enjoy when you're not being constantly distracted. And then, and this is the key part, after the break is over, you don't just jump back in. No, you rebuild your digital life from scratch. piece by piece. You intentionally reintroduce only the tools that give you a massive, clear benefit for the things you genuinely care about. So what happens when you actually do this? When you finish the experiment? Honestly, the results can be life-changing. I mean, by clearing out all that low-value noise, you're not just getting a tidier phone screen. You're reclaiming huge amounts of your most valuable resources, your time and your attention. You basically create this space in your life and you get to decide what to fill it with, things that actually bring you real satisfaction and joy. And the stories from people who've gone through this process, they're just incredible. They're not just talking about spending less time online. No, it's a fundamental trade. They're swapping out low-quality digital distraction for high-quality, real-world life. I mean, just imagine it. Imagine having the time to read 3, even 4 books a month, or to finally learn that ukulele you've had sitting in the corner. To actually be fully present in your conversations with the people you love. See, this isn't about giving things up. It's about gaining a life that feels less anxious, more focused, and just more deeply yours.
So at the end of the day, it all comes down to this. It's time to take a hard look at the technology in your hands and ask yourself one simple, really honest question. Who is really in charge here? Is it you or is it the tech? Because digital minimalism, it isn't about rejecting the modern world. It's about building your own.